just coming back. A beautiful evening, or is it afternoon where you are, or is it morning where you are? Actually, there is a need for me to do this, and this has been long in waiting. A lot of people have been talking so much about the tea talk, which essentially is what I need to introduce. There are several other things that we are going to be talking about life, about marriage, about love, about relationships, about interaction with people, how best to handle situations, what you need to do as often as you can to make sure that everything falls in place. Now, one of my major interests is marriage, and of course relationships, of course love. I know a lot of people out there are interested and would want to know how to handle love related relationships, but I will start off my video series with the tea talk. Talking about the tea talk, it is essentially my perspective about life, my understanding of life, the way I believe people should conduct themselves. It's not about do what you want done to you to others. You understand? It's not about that. It's just about relating to life and essentially getting to know exactly what needs to be done, when, where, to who, with who, how. Several things that will end up defining life essentially for whoever is interested in having a good life. There are a lot of factors, there are a lot of things to do. I sincerely believe if we can inform people, if we can let people know how to do things, when to do things, what to do about situations, frankly speaking, I think life will be much better, because a lot of people are doing things out of ignorance. Sometimes they panic before they relate, and what likely happens when a person panics is he does more damage than he would have otherwise done if he was calm and composed, So whenever a situation happens, it's not running helter-skelter trying to solve it immediately. No, you're supposed to sit down, look closely at what is happening, who are involved, then recall certain things that you are already aware of about life, and also recall situations where similar thing has happened, and how others have reacted to it, and what was the consequence of their reaction, what was the outcome of their reaction, what was the result of their action, and you quickly put that into perspective. Then you now again calm down and essentially think things out. Okay, there are situations where you might not have time, but find a way you create time to deal with situations, and then at the end of the day, I'm quite certain you will be able to overcome whatever challenges, whatever obstacle, whatever situation is facing you. Okay, now basically this is what my tea talk is all about. The T is about my name, Tijani Muhammad, or my full name, Muhammad Tajuddin Tijani. So the T is from the Tajuddin, and for some others who know me as Tijani Muhammad Musa, they would prefer to say, okay, the T is for TJ, and the TJ is from both Tijani and Tajuddin, right? As you all know, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I'm a social media influencer, I'm a motivational speaker. I try to inspire people. I do quotes that I believe will go a long way in making people think and reflect about life, I might still be alive now, and of course, my quotes might not matter or have any impact or any influence. Hopefully, when I am gone, some people will look at my quote and say, "Oh, this guy has made some sense in this quote he has said," and that is what I'm hoping will happen eventually. Okay. Now, I'm just coming from an event. That is why you see me all dressed up like this. If not, you would have seen me otherwise dressed. But I want to believe we can be very good friends. We can talk to each other. We might have situations that I can address, just like I might have situations that you can address. It's not all about me, a one-way thing. It is about us talking to each other, relating with each other, feeling each other, reaching out to each other, and at the end of the day, let's see what will happen if we eventually get to do that. But as far as the Tea Talk is concerned, I want to believe I've introduced the Tea Talk to you. And when I say tea, it means T-E-E, then talk, T-A-L-K, not T-O-K. But it can be that as well. And sometimes when I talk about this tea talk, it's like the tea talk of time. You understand? The talking of time. I mean, ticking of every second passing by. And what are we doing with that? What are we doing with the time that we've been given? How impactful can we make that time that we've been given? And that is the way I would want us to relate. The time that we've been given, what are you doing with it? How much is it improving your life? At the end of the day, do you sit down to reflect and think, what have I done with the 24 hours I've had today? Is it worthy of what I've gone through, or is it a waste, or is most of it a waste rather than an advantage, that has been taken care of. Yes. So this is basically what I am thinking about doing with this tea talk. I'm in this part of the world. I don't know which part of the world you are, but I believe it doesn't really matter. It is all about us being humans. It is all about us wanting to harmonize our differences, despite the fact that they will still remain, but can we accept our differences as well as see what we can do towards making our lives better by just talking to us, right? Now, I know usually tea talks are conducted with a cup of tea. And when we talk about cup of teas, basically, for me, you're talking about poetry, I know for a lot of guys, it's about having different brews, different blends of teas, of various flavors, and essentially, my tea talk is also about serving you with that. So maybe once in a while I'll come in with poetry and I'll read my poem, and then I'll see how you relate or you react to that. Okay. I want to believe. You see, let me tell you about my poetry, right? I know some of you say, DJ, no, please, no poetry in this. Please, poetry is difficult to decipher, difficult to understand, difficult to do. No, please, not my poetry, right? Because I started deliberately to write poems that I believe people should understand. I don't believe in writing poetry using difficult words, citing situations that are impossible or invisible or unimaginable to relate to. Yes, I can do that comfortably. You will hear when I eventually present some of my poetry, but I assure you that keep it a date with us. subscribe to our channel. I mean, click the subscribe button, and I assure you that when I bring poetry, you would definitely fall in love with my poems, and you would want more, because the slogan of my poems is poetic tea is the name I go by when I do poetry, and the slogan is here, take a sip. It's like I'm offering you a cup of poetic tea. So here I offer you take a sip of it. Now let me get the cup and demonstrate clearly what I'm trying to say here. All right. Now, if I do this, okay, let me use this. Don't mind me. It is an empty cup, but notwithstanding, I will just basically demonstrate what I mean now. This is a cup of tea, right? Imagine this is full of tea, but the tea is not with an A. It doesn't end with an A. It ends with an E. Like I said, the name is TJ. So take the T of the TJ and add 2 E's to it, and gives you a T, right? So that T sounds like TEA of a cup of tea, but it is not a cup of tea in the sense that you know. It is a cup of tea in the sense of poetry. You know, a cup of poetic tea is what I'm offering you. Now, when you take a sip of a tea, normally you feel the flavor. You savor the taste. You relate to the sweet, delicious feeling it creates inside of you, in your mind, in your brain, in your stomach, and stuff like that. Now, with this poetic tea, right, it does much more than that. It stimulates your thinking. It tries to take you from this world into an imaginary or self-conscious level where you can now find meanings beyond meanings. You can find words that have deeper meanings than you have ever imagined. Words that can transform you from this physicality to, if you like, sensuality, if you like universality, if you like there are so many of the T's. Now remember, mark that T at the end of it all, okay? So I define my poetry as simplicity in complexity. Now what do I mean by that? I write my poems with everyday words, in everyday language. I know a lot of people will say, this poetry is common poetry. But the secret of my poetry is that it gives you a surface meaning as well as a below the surface meaning, all right? It's just like a pond. On the surface, you see a pond calm, serene, cool. The water is noiseless. Now, take a dip or a dive into that pond, and you discover a whole flora and fauna completely existing, devoid of whatever it is on the surface of the water. Now that's basically what my poetry is all about. You can take it, you can go through it, you can read it, you can make meaning out of the words. But if you should dare to reflect deeper than just the surface, you will discover a new entire volumes of meanings associated with the poem. I know with the death of an author, you are at liberty to, enjoy the poem the way you wish. It's your cup of tea, right? You enjoy it just exactly as you wish. If the surface meaning of the words are comfortable with you, enjoy the surface meaning of the words. if you dare to read again and again and again, I assure you, with every reading, you will discover new in-depth insight in the words that look so ordinary, so common, so daily to you, right? You can take my word for it. I assure you, first and foremost, you will end up loving my tea, and then you will end up asking for more. A second cup, perhaps a third cup. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you enjoy a sip when offered. So that is why when I am offering you poetic tea, here, take a sip. Only the one who has had a sip will know exactly what he is tasting. And you see, the nice thing about all this is this: nobody can tell exactly how it tastes in your mouth. Only you. Doesn't matter. Somebody will say, this is too sugary. I mean, taking the physical commodity. And another will say, this is just fine with me. And another person will say, this is look, there is no sugar in this, you know. I mean, how can you take tea, bland like that? All right. Now, I am giving you all kind of levels of the understanding as far as the tea situation is concerned. It goes the same way with my poetry. All right. You take a sip, and you will discover something that entirely nobody else can describe. Only you can do that. And you don't get the same taste every time you take a different sip of my service, of my brews of poetic tea. It might taste sour in some circumstance. In another, it might taste delicious. In another, you will get up and really enjoy the vibrations that is cruising through your system. And in another, you just go, oh no, come on, how can you do this? No, things like that. And that essentially is why I'm inviting you to come over. Apart from the tea talk, I will also offer you a poetic tea, which I will offer you with that welcome offer. Here, take a sip. All right. Now, I think I should let it go at this stage, like this, and then when we eventually get really talking, then we can go places. With each other. This is the way I am starting off the tea talk, and along with the tea talk, there is a lot of other things that will come. But more than anything else, I'll offer you a poetic tea. Here, take a sip.